Pepper sit. Good girl. Welcome to Mine Explorers. And we are back out in the field, which is great.
It is great. If haven't been in the field in a long time, and I love it.
So it's February in Utah, and
Couldn't have asked for a better day.
Literally like 63 degrees outside, and it's a beautiful day. So we've done a lot of staking and prospecting and stuff in the winter before, but never this nice. Like, this is really nice. We're gonna need some more snow before the end of the season for sure, but I'm definitely grateful for this nice day
I'll take rain.
to be out in the field.
Rain would be good.
Rain in the valley, snow in the mountains, because I don't have to shovel rain.
Unless it turns into mud.
Yeah, but we don't live in a place where it does that.
Cool.
which is
So what are
good.
we doing out here today?
So we are prospecting for pozzolan and staking some claims.
Cool. So I know on one of our last episodes we talked about showing the process and how it all works. So we're in the field now. We
Yep.
staked our claims, but before we even got here, we had quite a bit of homework that we had to do and research that we had to do.
Yeah, so I'll walk you through the process. And, you know, really prospecting at its core is science. So it's very scientific method. So you come up with a theory, you test, you fail, you test, you fail, you test, you fail, and then eventually you come onto something that works.
Right.
And prospecting, I think the biggest, most important key is prospectors and using that as a broad term to include explorational geologists, private companies, public companies that do prospecting, as well as prospectors in a traditional sense, you know, with their trusty mule. It's all science and it's all trial and error, and the key to success is patience and continuing to try. So in this particular iteration, we've looked at a dozen or more pozzolan prospects. We've filmed a couple episodes prospecting, but it all starts with the desktop. So I found a report that was done by the State Geological Survey, and they identified potential locations for pozzolan as a supplementary cementatious material, SCM, cementatious material. I don't know why I struggle with that word, but anyway, and they looked and they did a geochemical search. So they looked for materials, mostly volcanics, some diatomaceous earth, lots of tuffs and rhyolites that are high amorphous silica content. And then they kind of left it at that, so that they left the rest of the testing up to whoever follows up on it. But it's kind of phase one, and it's a good step. So,
But that's the point of most of those reports, is to gather interest for the prospectors.
yeah, and then get companies interested, and they come out and they actually find things that sometimes turn into mines.
Yeah.
So we followed up on that. I looked into the geology. I found a location that I thought looked promising. I went out and duplicated their sampling. I took their sample coordinates and I went out and found the spots they sampled, collected duplicate samples. I ran the modified Chappelle test in my home lab on those samples. They showed good reactivity. And so next I plotted, well, first off, I looked at the land status. So I said, okay, what's available, what's leased, what's not available. And I found out a lot of the area I was interested in is not available. So then I figured out, well, what is? And we drafted some mining claims. And then we came out and did some more bulk sampling instead of getting an individual sample this time, just a, you know, gallon bag sample. I got a 5-gallon bucket so we could run the full battery of tests, not just the reactivity. And then we plotted some mining claims, and we came out and we staked a few mining claims while we were here. So if it tests well, we already have some claims, and then we can look at acquiring the rest of the mineral rights. But yeah, kind of a first step. So, you know, a project like this, I say 10% odds it makes it to the next step and passes the rest of the tests, because we only know it meets 2 criteria out of like 5 that it needs to. But it was worth staking a claim, so if it does, we already have the mineral rights to do the next step.
Yep.
So that's the process. So first, desktop research, drove out and did some sampling, early stage
Well,
testing.
the very first step is to know where you're looking.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, I looked at a list of 50 potential locations of interest, and I said,
You got to narrow it
all
down.
these don't work logistically or for some other reason, so I'm going to focus on these couple locations. Go out. I picked one. I'm going to go sample this, tested it. Okay, it's good. It's worth staking a few claims and getting a bigger sample and running more tests. And so then the land status, drafting the claims, staking the claims in the field.
Got really windy. Is this gonna?
No, that's why it's got the little puffy screen on it.
Okay.
But if you can hear the wind, it's the wind. And it's really a very pleasant breeze. I wouldn't even call it wind, but.
So that's the long and short of it. You find your area, you figure out if the ground is open for mineral rights, because not all ground is. And then you go out, you put your stakes in the ground, and then you file with the county. And then if everything looks good, we'll file with the BLM.
Yeah, but we have a delay there. So the nice thing is like my preliminary testing with the Chappelle test, I can do in a couple of days.
Right.
Because I have everything to do it. But doing the other battery of tests could require a month or two, let's say 2 months. So I have 30 days to file these claims with the county, which I'll do. And then I have 90 days to make a decision if I want to file them with the BLM. So if they test well, I'll file them with the BLM. If they don't test well, then I just let them go, and no harm, no foul. We spent a couple days and a couple $100 of materials and try it again.
Not a
And
bad
that's
way to spend an
prospecting.
afternoon, honestly.
Yeah, well, and the nice thing is we're prospecting for things that not a lot of people are looking for. So we're not in areas with a lot of claims necessarily, but we are looking at like state land, federal land, some private lands, and obviously like geology can span the limit. It doesn't all just occur in one different place. So you
Yeah,
have to,
and logistics. I mean, logistics plays a huge role in this as well.
yeah, and you know, one of the keys to being good at prospecting is to have a reliable field dog who can help you out. So Pepper,
She sniffs out the high grade.
yeah, she
That's
was
what she's here for.
more than happy to come out with us, but it's been fun. So yeah, we're in the field and we're prospecting. We got some nice footage of staking the claims, getting the samples. We'll take the bulk samples. We'll run a battery of tests. So about pozzolans, we'll need to see, is it reactive? Does it react with lime? Is the first test. Obviously the geophysics, or not the geophysics, but the geochemistry is a good start for that characterization of the minerals. So is it amorphous silica? How is it, the physical properties? Does it have a lot of surface area? Things like that. And then the next things is what's the water consumption like? Because that's a big factor. And then the actual strength, the strength testing. So if you make it into a block of cement, concrete, how strong is it? How long does it last? You know, what's the wear on it? And so that's a big part of it. And then, you know, in the meantime, the precious metals markets are just going nuts. There's a lot of volatility. I mean, we said there'd be volatility, but when it comes, it's actually always a little surprising. Like when you get on a roller coaster, you know you're on a roller coaster, but some of the drops and the loop-de-loops still surprise you.
Didn't expect it to drop so quickly and so far.
So it dropped so fast, so far, and then it's come up again, and then it's dropped again, and then it's come up again. But we're seeing in gold, it's more muted, but we're still seeing 5% up and down days. In silver, we're seeing 10, 15% up and down days, which is crazy. And I think the general consensus from people that I trust and follow in the space that are a lot wiser than I am think that things are going to be really rocky in February, and then into March things could consolidate to start to rise consistently again because the fundamentals haven't changed.
Okay.
The fundamentals, there's still a supply-demand deficit in silver that's not changed. It takes a long time to bring mines online, especially at scale. And then gold, the dollar is still being debased. None of that's changed. There's still inflation, so gold's going to continue to go up. And even the big banks agree on that. I think most of the banks have revised their targets to the $5,500 to $6,000 range for this year, and some of them are even looking at $7,000 an ounce for the end of the year. So while we're out in the field, lots of volatility there. And on the Burgex front, we've got several drill programs going on right now. We're drilling for copper, we're drilling for some industrial minerals, and we're having all the fun that has to come along with that. There's always logistical challenges and technical challenges to solve. So that's fun. And then we're working on some really interesting projects with market studies, prospecting for obviously critical minerals and copper and gold and silver and things like that, but construction materials as well, helping companies source rocks basically for big projects.
That's what we do.
Yeah, so things are busy, but it's really nice to get out in the field with Crystal. I often get out in the field with Pepper. We went out earlier this week to do the first round on this project, and now we're back out to do the second round. And if it looks good, we'll do more rounds, and if not, we'll move on to the next prospect, because that's how it goes.
That's how prospecting works. You just keep chipping away at it.
And it is a scientific process. So you take what you learn and you roll it onto the next project. So the real value we're building here is knowledge. We know how to find pozzolan now, and we know how to find reactive pozzolan, but do we know how to find pozzolan that meets all the criteria? It's yet to be seen. Maybe not. Maybe all of our projects are bad, and maybe we have some that are good, but we will learn as we go. Anyway, thanks for watching. Anything else to talk about this week?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we've been doing really well with the guests. We're going to keep that up. We're going to keep bringing on guests who have interesting projects, who are working on the cutting edge of critical minerals and new technology in mining. And that's going to be a big theme of this year with the show. Stay tuned, as we're going to talk more about that sort of stuff with our guests and have more guests. We're going to do more from the field, and we're going to dig into kind of our relationship and our journey as entrepreneurs and some of that. And
that'll be fun.
Keep it fresh, keep it interesting. But great of you to join us out in the field today. We hope you tune in next time, and please consider subscribing. The bigger our audience gets, the more motivated we are to bring in quality guests and continue to make good content for you. So stay tuned and let us know if you have any questions about prospecting, claim staking, any of that fun stuff. Happy to answer them.